Multiplayer has always been the heart of Crystal Chronicles since the earliest days of development. With the inclusion of online play in the remastered edition of the game, there have been a lot of questions and concerns on exactly how it's going to work. In this video, I'm going to do my best to explain how the online multiplayer works, as well as the differences between the original game and the remaster. Let's get this out of the way immediately. There is no local multiplayer. If you're looking to adventure side by side with your pals, you're going to have to bust out those Game Boys and dust off the old GameCube. Multiplayer in Crystal Chronicles is all online now, and it's handled entirely through their new lobby system. Multiplayer is region locked, and as such you'll only be able to play with other players in your region. North American players will not be able to match or join with players in the UK or Japan. While region lock is a bummer, we do have the benefit of crossplay. This allows players on all versions of the game, whether you're on the Switch, PS4, or your mobile phone, to play together. To accomplish this, Square has created a proprietary friend code system that functions within the game. These friend codes change often, so make sure you're following or you friend these other players to continue adventuring together regardless of what platform you're playing on. Before we get into the differences in multiplayer gameplay, let's touch on the LITE version briefly. The LITE version is the free-to-play version of Crystal Chronicles that allows you to play 3 out of the 14 dungeons with limited access to towns and vendors. The benefit of this version is playing with friends that have purchased the full game. Doing so will allow the LITE version players to access 13 of the game's dungeons, only excluding the final story dungeon. Should you decide to upgrade to the full game from the LITE version, your character progress does transfer over, so if you're on the fence about the game, try it out. There's nothing to lose here. Okay, once you've assembled your party, you can enter the dungeon. The majority of the gameplay is identical to the single-player experience with just a few changes. The first thing you'll notice are the now stronger enemies. The more players you have in your dungeon, the tougher the monsters will be. For each additional player, monster stats are multiplied by set amounts to keep the game balanced and fun. Spell fusion is another thing you'll be missing from single player. You won't be able to fuse spells on your own. Instead, you'll be relying on your fellow adventurers to cast things like gravity, holy, and the larger, more powerful elemental spells. There are plenty of enemies in Crystal Chronicles that require these spell fusions to defeat, so learning the order and timing of them is very important. Though a little fire on your friend's focus attack never hurts either. Well, doesn't hurt you, that is. New to the remastered edition of the game, each player will have their own client-side loot. Where a monster may drop a single piece of iron in the original, now each player gets their very own material, scroll, or monster part. Magicite, the stones that allow you to cast spells, and artifacts remain server-side, however, and will still be free game for whoever grabs it first. It's good to note that the temporary stats given by artifacts picked up mid-dungeon do apply to the entire party, not just the player that collected it. While there is no voice chat built into the game itself, there are new chat shortcuts that communicate simple messages to each other mid-dungeon. These are preset phrases, and there is no current way to create custom messages. The last thing we're going to go over here is the multiplayer progression. If you played the original and have used the Bring a Friend feature, this will sound pretty familiar, but for those of you who are brand new to the game, it may be a bit confusing. When playing online, only the host, the player that started the lobby, will collect myrrh and progress their story. Now when I say progress the story, I'm talking about the myrrh and memories specifically. All players involved will keep any items they collected during the dungeon, including the artifact reward at the end. Your character will continue to get stronger and collect items no matter how you choose to play. Just remember, if you want to move the story forward to complete the game, you will need to either do so in single player or host your own dungeon lobbies. Another thing to note about story progress, you can join other players no matter the cycle their dungeon may be on. You can still play with friends on Cycle 3, even if you haven't completed Cycle 1. A lot of people seem to be on the fence about how the new multiplayer works, and I hope this video was able to answer a few of your questions. If there's anything else that I missed, please ask in the comments and I'll do my best to answer. Once again, if you enjoyed the video or learned something new, click the like button and subscribe for more Crystal Chronicles content. Happy hunting.